All right, music fans, welcome. Harmless me here, talking about real weather, real craziness, and doing it in real time for real people just like you. Yeah, I heard about, Sammy Hagar and Rolling Stone, and so I've been sort of paying attention to some of this stuff, but um, I'm kind of just trying to get back to speed, get back to life. The power is on, which is awesome. I had horrible cell service the entire time that um, Hurricane Ian hit, and really up until very late last night. And by the time everything kind of get back to the way it sort of used to be, um, I'm exhausted because there are a number of things obviously that happened. We had a tree fall in a neighbor's car. I had to help out with tree removal, cleaning up. We have roof shingles that went everywhere, which is better than, say, losing a section of your roof completely. The neighborhood I live in, and I'm just because people are really worried. I'm not in Fort Myers. I'm in a town called Lehigh, which is to the east, and we weren't in its direct path when I did my little weather report. Um, I was thinking maybe we dodged a bullet. The problem is that the eastern eye wall of the storm actually came right over our town. It was diminished compared to what it was when it came ashore. Most of the energy of the storm was more to the north and maybe slightly to the east of where we are, but mostly to the north. And initially, when the storm came in, places obviously like Fort Myers Beach, which I've spent a lot of time at Fort Myers Beach. So it's gone. It's just gone. And so much of that area is gone. I've been hearing that people are blaming climate change for the hurricane. That's fine. Whatever you want to blame. When stuff like this happens, it would just be nice if people wouldn't talk about politics for 5 seconds and just focus on what just happened and how many people are displaced and how many people were lost. We don't have exact numbers on that here. I'm sure you've been watching the real news, quote unquote, real news, or the news that pretends to be real. They love to play up these storms. This was a very bad storm. I'm not saying this. I've lived through a few hurricanes up north, and this one pretty much blows everyone out of the water. Now, keep in mind, I lived through Hurricane Irma down here as well. We left and came back, and the damage where I live currently and where I lived in a different house then, it was a rental and it was a horrible house, whereas I live in a much better house now. But generally speaking, the damage from Irma in the town that I live in was far greater than the damage from Ian. We were 2 weeks without electricity, and it was just getting insane. After a week, you were just like, okay, this is getting silly. And then each day that went by, you would see an LCEC truck rolling by, and you're like, hey, guys, power over here. What was ironic was during that first storm, Hurricane Irma, the guy next door to me had power, and there was one street light next to him that was lit. I don't understand how power grids work or how circuits work, and some circuits are on and some circuits are off. Um, there were some people who didn't lose power at all during Ian. By the way, can we just retire the I names? Just no more I's, no Irmas, no Ians, no I's. Just skip I and go to whatever. Um, just HI, just go right to J, right? I had to think about the alphabet there for a second. That's how a geezer I am and how sort of discombobulated I am right now. But yeah, we could just get rid of I and it would be cool. um, so yeah, we had a lot of roof damage. a lot of tree damage. But again, Irma for this area was worse. For the coastline, Ian was like 5 times worse than Irma was, like maybe 10 times worse. The storm surge, the way the storm actually came into the coastline. I'm sure, again, you've been watching the nonstop, endless coverage, and it's breathless coverage, but it is pretty breathless down here. I'm not saying that the media is overdoing it. It's just I wish they would keep their climate change theories. I'm not sure, by the way, what are we supposed to do, right? If we stop driving cars? What is it that we're supposed to do? Really, the only thing you could do in Florida, because everybody is moving here, is improve the infrastructure to a point where it cannot be destroyed. Also, don't build on the beach. Don't build things on the beach. I know this property is expensive, it's exclusive, but why would you build something to see it just knocked down? Now, I don't think people are going to stop building on the beach. I just don't. I keep hearing, we're going to rebuild. These barrier islands like Sanibel, gone. It's completely gone. Sanibel, Captiva, Mount Lachey, all these places that are iconic. Even Cape Coral, which, by the way, currently there's nobody with power in Cape Coral. The entire city of Cape Coral is in the dark still. Not one person has been restored from what I heard this morning. And I'm sure you're hearing the same coverage, although some of the national media is probably starting to transition back to their coverage of other emergencies like Ukraine or whatever, right? How many billions of dollars, by the way, have we sent over to Ukraine? I don't know. I'm sure we could have sent that money to Florida, right? But the problem with doing that, obviously, is that Florida is a bad place politically because the governor here does not obey the wishes of Washington, D.C., and tends to chart his own path, which I think is a good thing. But getting back to me and my family, we're okay. We spent a lot of time doing family things, which is a positive. I had one patron say, I had a lot of great memories during the hurricanes because we had a lot of great family time because we're all forced to kind of, do stuff together, right? Get off your devices. 20, 30 years ago, these devices weren't ruling the world. People were twitching, walking around, my cell phone, Facebook, I can't do all this stuff. And I'm not saying I'm not addicted to that stuff, but it's okay. It's a necessary evil to some degree, but I'm kind of like, okay, it's Facebook, whatever, people posting pictures on Facebook of the devastation. You're getting a lot of communications from social media that you're not seeing on regular media, but regular media is using social media these days to, do their broadcast. They go over to a big screen where they're over on Twitter or they're over on Facebook and they're following posts of whoever. And, the world is much more intimate in some ways, but we're so far apart in other ways. It's kind of a weird thing. We could be close because of social media, but for whatever reason, it's created a weird distance in people. By the way, water is still scarce here. You have to boil water. Gas is going to be a big problem probably for a number of days. I don't understand why there aren't tankers loaded with gas heading to every gas station. Some of the gas stations didn't have power. Again, infrastructure. You got to get some kind of generator. I'm kicking myself that I didn't go out and purchase like a Generac, right? One of those full house generators. It just kicks on. I know it's expensive, but it's expensive relatively speaking, but it gives you that peace of mind. We've got underground utilities here, so we thought, hey, we're going to be great. It's going to, compared to other people, compared to Hurricane Irma, this was way better. At night, you could open the windows and listen to the generators humming out there and in the backyard. I think I took some video of that before. Those generators were merciless. You pop the window open and you're lying there in bed. Thankfully, not as hot, because after Irma, I mean, we still had 3 or 4 weeks of scorching summer weather. People don't realize where I live in Florida, the weather doesn't really cool off till late October. And you could still have some crazy hot days after that. One year I was here in November, it was 88 degrees every day in November, which for people up north, they're like, oh man, that's awesome. But it's relentless. And in the rainy season, which they're saying because of Hurricane Ian, the rainy season is over. And I guess that's an appropriate way to end it. I think we only typically have a couple more weeks, maybe till October 15th, where you get the thunderstorms in the afternoon, and it's hot and sunny. And each year that varies a little bit. Some years it just cuts off right where we are now, and other years it goes on for another week or two. Sporadically, if you're on the east coast of Florida, it tends to continue. They tend to get the showers coming right in from the Atlantic Ocean, and good for them. Good. I mean, we've had enough rain. I think we had probably 6-7 inches of rain during Hurricane Ian. My lake in the back is full enough. I'm sure it's going to drop, and by next April, it's going to be pretty dry. But right now, it's almost like an ocean. There were waves breaking in during the storm. I'm like, it looks like we live on an angry ocean right now. It was just incredible to witness all of this stuff. But again, silver linings all over the place. Power on. We're safe. This is because of what happened during Irma, and my wife was in a car accident right before Irma. So there were a lot of different things that made 2017 really a crappy year for us. So I don't know if this doesn't compare to that. We are in a much better place. And I want to thank, there were some real generous people out there. Craig, I want to publicly thank you for what you've done to help. I've got, a tree that I had to get removed, and then I had to, pick up shingles all over the yard. So, going to be contacting the insurance company. Oh boy, this is why you have homeowners insurance and all that. But it's not fun when you see your roof on the ground or parts of it on the ground. You're just like, oh crap, because then you're worried about if the roof is going to leak, and you need to get someone out here. But the problem is that the entire state is going to be needing and wanting these services all at once. And quite honestly, I'll be very truthful here. There are still homes here and there, like maybe 1 out of 50 or 1 out of 100, that still have damage from Hurricane Irma that was never taken care of, whether it was a financial situation or just maybe they hit the road and left and decided to leave the house. There are a lot of people that just can't rebuild, and they'd rather get out. Maybe the insurance, they drag their feet, and that's really sad. But that's the nature of insurance agencies. And there are attorneys down here lining up already saying, hey, if you have trouble with your claim, we're here to help you fight, because they're going to get the claim, then they're going to get money for themselves. It's a very lucrative business, right? It's kind of like songwriting a little bit. Maybe not. I don't know. I'll probably get back to doing music videos or videos based on music. I'm not going to be doing a music video per se, but talking about music in real time and all that stuff. Probably going to do that either today or tomorrow. I mean, schools are closed for a week or so. Gas is incredibly hard to find, and we're going to have to go out on an expedition to probably locate some fuel. You get two cars, and one of them is getting pretty low on gas. People say, "What can you send me?" I don't think you could send me gas. Um, it'd probably be intercepted anyway if you could send the gas, because it's cutthroat out there. Waiting in line for ice, all these things that I did yesterday, the Walmart lineup. I mean, and the frozen food section, the refrigerator section is toast because everything went bad and they had to throw all this food in dumpsters. Just incredible how much food was wasted. It's like, again, infrastructure, maybe a refrigerator truck, right? That you could get down to the location, load it up. And if you're not going to say bring it back, then send it to the East Coast or send it to people who can use it. Well, I don't know. There's got to be a better system in place than this. But again, to live here, to live anywhere that's vulnerable like this, you definitely have to improve the infrastructure, build away from the shoreline, I would say. I mean, just make all the barrier islands like beaches, right? You have maybe a road going out there. And if the road gets devastated, then you don't have a beach, but nobody gets killed. And you don't lose, literally billions of dollars worth of property doesn't go, into the ocean. All those iconic places on Fort Myers Beach are gone. They're just gone. That whole bridge over to, Fort Myers Beach, that should just be to a beach. And then everything else over there, I just don't think you should build on that. I know, you build a business next to a beach, it's going to do great. People will buy stuff because they forgot, their sunglasses, or they forgot something, suntan lotion, whatever. And they're, and they're going to buy it there, even at your inflated price. So it's a good place to open up a small business, or even bring a larger scale business. Jimmy Buffett has a Margaritaville going in on Fort Myers Beach. And it's literally, I think, the only thing that's standing is the construction for Margaritaville, because it's all like heavy duty concrete block. I don't know if it's going to continue to be built, and if it is, it would probably be the only thing you can do on Fort Myers Beach for quite some time. All the iconic hotels are gone. Everything that people liked about Fort Myers Beach. I used to go to this barrier island called Lover's Key. I wonder if it's even there. It's just crazy what this weather did. So I'm rambling a bit. I tend to do that when I've got a lot to say. I just want to thank all the patrons who were sending me messages, and I couldn't reply. I was getting them and I couldn't reply to them. And then I tried to reply, and I'd get a spinning thing, and we had like no G's. We had like 2G instead of 4 or 5G. And you had to point your phone out the window, and then you get the messages, but then you couldn't do anything with them. And I had my solar power charger trying to keep the phone charged, and that wasn't working out so well. So you had to get in the car and run the car and plug it into the lighter adapter or whatever, and that wasn't charging very much or very quickly. So yeah, I apologize for not getting to people, but I want to thank everybody who sent messages, well wishes, concerns. What can you do? For those people who prayed, obviously that helped a lot. My son prayed and the power went on when he prayed, seriously. So coincidence, maybe, but it was still awesome that it happened at that moment. So in any event, people, thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell for notifications on new videos. Patreon, if you want to help, $1 a month, $2 a month. There's another way. If you're a patron, if you want to reach out to me and you want to do something, a one-time thing, I can send you a PayPal email. I don't typically do this. I don't like to beg for money. I do see that, my wife has lost at least a couple of weeks of work, and typically people don't want to watch me talk about, weather events. They're out in some other place, maybe in a different part of the world. I had somebody from a different part of the world tell me about the Lindsey Buckingham concert that they went to see. That's awesome. I'm glad he's out there. I'm glad he's out there. Stevie's out there too. So maybe a Fleetwood Mac reunion next year. Maybe we can do a video about that and talk about the possibility that those two, that they can make more money together rather than being solo artists. But wait and see, right? And Stevie, she's very happy with sending money over to Ukraine. I think probably they both are. We could use that money here in Southwest Florida to rebuild, but rebuild in a better, smarter way. And infrastructure is so important, and all around the country, not just in Florida. I mean, roads, bridges, everything's falling apart. I mean, government isn't supposed to do all that much, but one of the things it is supposed to do is infrastructure. And yeah, so, and here, not in this country, not in other countries, but right here in the good old supposed USA. All right, I could go on. I won't. Thanks again, and I will hopefully talk to you soon.